Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Max Duplicant series. Just to catch you up, this is the beginning of a to be continued, episode 11 part B to be precise, because recording Echo made the entire episode way too long. We're going to pick up the chaos where we left it. I hope you enjoy. Back to building our garbage chute, and we're just going to take this line here. Going to go across here. Oh, this is just wonderful. This isn't going to take the duplicants long at all. And where do these liquids keep coming from? By the way, some ingenious folks in the comments pointed out the reason why I'm having difficulty keeping water out of here is, well, the fish. Right now, there aren't any gulpfish, but I'm sure there have been some in the past, and they are drinking the polluted water and then in turn, making clean water. So, long story short, gulpfish are now on the instant kill list, and they did it to themselves. Now, when you're using a gas pump to get rid of all the excess gases, there's one contingency you want to take into account for, and that's the fact that you do not want to be pumping good oxygen up. So that's the reason why we use a little bit of automation. We're going to use a gas element sensor that's going to detect whether or not something is or is not oxygened. We're also going to use a NOT gate because we're going to select oxygen and say, hey, if you're detecting oxygen, make it a red signal. And we are also going to use a filter gate. The reason why we use a filter gate is because we do not want the sensor to be flickering. In other words, there's going to be times when oxygen and carbon dioxide are sort of going back and forth down here. We don't need this thing to run unless, well, there's a lot built up. And we tie everything in just like this. Our suits are almost done being made, so I can start delivering them down here. This will be nice. And yes, this entire episode, this auto sweeper has been picking up all of the debris down here, and it still is moving a lot. Oh no, I think I'm out of mess tables again, which means it's time for me to build another mess hall, and I don't know where I was going to put it. What about at the other end of the kitchen with all the chlorine? We don't need this egg cracker anymore. Yeah, this will work out fine. I have noticed that the temperature around here is starting to get a little higher. Remember when we did our giant cooling loop, we only used regular pipes. It also doesn't really operate over here, so maybe I do want to spread some over there. Or at the minimum, I can start replacing some of these with some radiant pipes. I'll just start with one every so often. There's a better look at how our thermals are looking, and the heat is probably coming from these coal generators. But, eventually they're not going to be there because I'm going to have a big, beautiful power spine. Speaking of which, how's the dig going? Not shabby. We're just about set up here for our garbage gas pump. I'm going to select breathable gases, oxygen, and then put the filter on, say, 20 seconds. So if it does not detect any oxygen for at least 20 seconds, this gas pump's going to turn on. And hopefully I haven't forgotten too many of the bridges, but now I realize I haven't put any of them in. So this will be a great time to show you the entire path and its horrible, horrible spaghetti-like features. Oh, surely that's the last one. Nope. And then all I have to do is put a vent up here, and whammo blammo, we shouldn't have any more problems. I am going to have to put a little hat on this. I will use steel tiles. I don't have bunker tiles yet. I'll just use regular tiles then. Something like that ought to work. We do this, that way when the meteors come down, they don't block the vent. And there it goes, slowly starting to clean out the entire base. And we're going to make its job a little bit easier by making sure this shaft is as open as possible. And yes, I have now realized this is where all that water is coming from. Probably from... And I don't think it's any of this. I guess it could be some of this polluted ice. So what I'm going to do is just seal this whole thing up. There. And then we can deal with the polluted water when we get to it. I suppose I need to leave an area for the steam turbines. Completely forgot I was doing this. Oh, that's right, because I'm waiting on oil so I can make a liquid lock. Ooh la la. The great news, though, is our suits are in and they are fully oxygenated. Granted, that line is not doing phenomenal. Oh, that's right, because I have to get back in here and repair this. The other two spawns had no damage, so that means the salt water had to come in through here, and I just don't see any salt water in here, so I have no idea. I think I can also get rid of this oxygen diffuser for now. There's enough oxygen. In fact, why don't I also do this for a little while? Granted, I wish that line was doing a little bit better. It only has one vent way up here, whereas this one is chocked full, so guess what? You are being replaced, and I was gonna deconstruct everything, but I know I'm gonna end up using it again in the future. It's not so bad. It's controlled chaos, really. But with the suits in, I think we can finally start digging down through here. Now, this is gonna be a cluster as well, because since we don't have one major base that lets dupes in and out, basically any dupe can go anywhere. And I'm not going to each door and manually controlling access for, 74 duplicants, because that would just become unwieldy. And I think the best way is going to be sort of down and over. I don't want to get into this salt water here. I guess I can just corner build it to destroy it. I definitely just don't want the salt water to be mixing in with any of this. But once I get down there, I'm just going to put a pitcher pump in there, start grabbing all the lead I can. How many times have I looked inside this mushroom farm and found problems? And how many of you realized, oh, Echo, you still don't even have auto sweepers on the bottom 3 floors? Oh, man. I remember from the last recording or the recording before it, like, yeah, I gotta wait until I get some more gold, and then completely forgot because I have 1,700 things going on. Oh, boy. The good news, though, we're up to like 10 tons of gold again. Or we were. Clearing this section out has helped a lot. A lot of the carbon dioxide and the chlorine and natural gas is dropping, which is exactly what we want to see, and it'll eventually end up into this gas pump here. Oh, great. And now we will forever get a overheating message from this battery. I know there's a mod out there that'll fix it, but I'm also going to set up a nice little drop-off somewhere in here. Maybe right here? Can that auto sweeper see that? Yes. I'm going to bring all the lead we find into here, so that way the auto sweeper eventually picks that up and sends it all the way up to the top of the base. Now that we have some oxygen down here as well, I am going to turn off this vent because I want all that carbon dioxide and junk to fall down here and not have to deal with the oxygen clogging it up. We're making progress. Salt water's been destroyed, so now I don't see why I can't just do something like this and go all the way down. We will figure out what kind of digging strategy we get once I get a better eye on this. Then we'll start pulling up the oil and go hunting for more lead. In fact, since we have so many dupes available, let me at least get some of the easier ones. Oh, we're also going to get access to diamond down here too. And this lead is going to be our future and allow us to finally upgrade all of that wire into conductive wire. There's some beautiful diamond. Let's go get a little bit of that too. Now that we've discovered it, let's definitely add lead to the list. Already up to about 4 tons. It's because these tiles are so dense. On average, each tile is like 1,920 kilos, so you get about a ton of lead after you dig it out. Hello, Pip. I would really like to welcome you to the colony so you could do all sorts of pip planting. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to, because of self-imposed stupid rules. In this case, the solution is pretty easy. Once again, we're not going to Naya pay. They are going to be an operator suit wearer, so probably a future mechatronics engineer. But I just love the fact that they start with that bonus athletics. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 75, Tony D. And I think Tony needs a place to sleep. I don't know how many other dupes have been sleeping on the floor. I have 9 barracks here, plus 3 extra. That's probably 75 there, so looks like it's time to build another barracks. Stargazer cots it is. We'll use some granite. There we go. And then once again, some more landscape paintings. Making that change here for this one single vent has helped out immensely around the colony. And I think that's sort of the lesson that I need to remember when adding more spawns. Each one of your spawns doesn't have to supply too many vents. As long as they're dishing out their oxygen, it's all going to be good anyways. For instance, this line right here. It probably hasn't moved in quite some time because, well, there's plenty of oxygen here. Oh no, I forgot about this coolant line. It's not running yet anyways, so this should be fine. As soon as I get this bridge removed, I'll start cooling the whole thing down. And we'll say if it's above 25 degrees, turn on. Oh, I realized when that thermo aqua tuner flipped on power, it's because this battery wasn't set correctly. And we have about 7 cycles before this cool steam vent starts erupting, and it should be fine. How in the world are we this behind on tasks? Granted, we are up to 1.1 million calories, thanks to our wonderful deep freezer, but I am going to add a little bit more to this refrigerator. In fact, I might get to the point where I add 2 refrigerators. I think I could make one fit right over here. Every once in a while, I'll get dupes saying that they can't reach food, and I think it's because only one dupe can use the refrigerator at a time. Just to test that theory, let me move this up to, say, 10 kilos of food. One thing that would help the colony too, not that dupe labor is an issue, is having the tubes. Once I'm satisfied and we have our nice power spine, I'll probably start adding tubes for some of these longer runs. Oh, I can also... How much plastic do I have? I have 37 tons of plastic. This will make it a lot better. Oh no. Flower girl? No! Regular ladders have a normal move speed, but plastic ladders increase your move speed by 20%. So that will definitely help this process out. Yes, it goes all the way to the top. And it only cost us 10 tons of plastic. Add it to the list, dupes. Add it to the list. I suppose there's other runs that could use this bonus move speed too, like this one here. Little update on the Puff Ranch. It is working a lot better now that I got rid of some of those other gases. And the polluted oxygen is off-gassing exactly how we wanted it to. Notice the vent is closed because there's 500 kilos in each of these tiles. And we're getting quite a bit of slime in return. And unfortunately, it looks like I got rid of my slime detector too. I must have exited out accidentally. So let me add slime back. And more importantly, I want to see the little graph. I really do wish these little graphs could be expanded. Like if I clicked it, it opened up another window. But it does kind of look like we are losing slime. I don't know. Just take the note that we're at 135 tons now. And I'll try to remember to come back and look at it again in, say, 50 cycles and see if that number is higher or lower. We have reached the bottom, and we found a vent or geyser that does not exist anymore. We've found some sporkids over here. Lots of diamond. The prototypical oil reservoirs, nothing new there. I guess one good thing about being down here is there's a lot of igneous rock. So we're not going to have to worry about the hatches being able to eat for quite some time. This oil reservoir got in the way of my fire pole, but that'll be okay. I don't think we'll be able to use them anyways. If we had a leaky oil fissure, I may be able to turn that into something useful, but I cannot afford the water to be pumping into an oil well. Yeah, I know you can get some of it back, but the conversion's not 100%. Oddly enough, though, I haven't found any slicksters. Maybe they're hiding somewhere else? Hey, little buddies. Ooh, there's a vent or geyser over here. Let's go for a voyage, shall we? Probably also smart to check for abyssalite breaks. Ooh, that one's not pretty. Need to be careful there. I have yet to make ceramics, so we're going to try some obsidian pitcher pumps down here. Obsidian has the bonus of having a plus 15 overheat temperature, which brings its max to 90 degrees, so it should be okay. But once I have this oil, I'll then be able to tame this iron volcano. Trying to get most of it all cleaned up. I could probably help this process too by bringing in some water now. With a 4 tile high room, I want at least 50 kilos in each tile, which means I need to drop off 200 times 10. So 2 tons of water. I also need to vacuum this whole place out, but I can't really start that until the liquid lock's in place. Not a big deal, but now that I have access to that lead, have we started dropping it off? Let me stop this transfer and just say lead. Here we go. And that 50 tons of lead already. That is amazing. And let's add some more stuff for the dupes to do. After upgrading that entire circuit, we're down to 40 tons. And I think that's the last bit of 2-strand wire around the colony. Oh, here's some more I can collect. Also don't need that anymore. I mean, this dumpster fire is really starting to come along now. We got some oil dropped off, perhaps just maybe a little too much, but that's okay. This is going to work out just fine. I need to mop that up, and I also need a oil drop off. That way they have someplace to put those little buckets. I'll need a bottle emptier to be able to drop off that 2 tons of water. What just happened? Did you just slip and fall? Oh my goodness. Now the next couple of pods are probably going to be back to back because, well, this is all I'm really doing right now, and allowing the dupes to build all those ladders, change out all those conductive wires. So for the first time in quite some time, the dupes are pretty busy, and I don't have many idlers. So it's just a matter of me waiting for them to do all this. And, you know, take care of suffocating dupes. That gold amalgam sure does look good, but no, the colony must grow. We have a mouth breather. Sorry, Ari. Steve's a flatulent dupe. That's not going to work for us. So we're going to be taking this Lindsay. Since we're not doing much research right now, we have a whole army worth of researchers who are just doing just about everything around the colony. Here at Cycle 219, welcome to duplicate number 76, the Cold Edge. And what I mean about having an army of researchers, you can see that I have 10 right now into researching one, but that's not actually where I'm starting them. And I go ahead and I give them that first trait, but then I go straight into rocket piloting, improved carry, and then suit sustainability. I want that athletics boost, and then eventually sending them into exosuit training so they get the even further exosuit penalty reduction. It's not a big deal, but I don't need any specialized dupes really. I guess while we are doing this, I can do some catch up on the research. I've just been knocking out materials study research every once in a while because we have finished all the Tier 1 and Tier 2 research. Well, it didn't take too long for me to mess up our oil biome. Apparently we still have little drops of ice coming from who knows where, and it's dripping down into here. Oh well, it was nice while we had it nice and clean. Now since I don't have a power spine, I am going to try to make this self-powered, but I'm not exactly sure if this design will work. We've done a couple in the past that are fairly popular in the community, but I wanted to see if my personal design would also be able to function as a self-powered design. So this is probably not the map for me to be doing testing on, but we're gonna do it anyways because welcome to Echo Ridge Gaming. Looks like we finally have the whole place vacuumed out. I'm gonna leave the pump in here. Normally a duplicate will not exhale unless they're actively breathing, and since they can't breathe in here, it's very rare for them to be exhaling in here, but just in case, until I get it all finished, I'm gonna leave the pump. Now I am going to spin this thermo aqua tuner because I want everything as far away from the iron volcano as possible. Of course, you know, by the time I get this thing finished, it's going to be dormant anyways, which would probably be good because I also need to get it analyzed. What I might do is, as soon as it erupts again and I know it's finished, I'm going to uncork it, get it analyzed, and hopefully be able to seal this whole place up beforehand. Look, sometimes you got to make little games out of things for yourself, you know, for your own sanity. Alright, once again, our coolant's going to come back into the aqua tuner, go up to the input of the bridge, and then out, just the same as we always do. We have two reasons that we want this aqua tuner. The first one is going to be keeping the steam turbines chilled, but the second one is actually keeping this one tile here chill, because that's the tile that all of our iron is going to be sitting on. I'm also going to need a way to scoop up that iron, so there is our steel auto sweeper and our steel conveyor loader. And I need to remember to make sure I use steel conveyor rails around the volcano itself, otherwise they will end up melting. The rest can be pretty much anything. In fact, I'm just going to use iron ore to be safe. Iron ore is going to be scooped up, put in here, rotate around to try to draw as much heat out of it as possible. And then I use a wonderful timer sensor to control when this vent opens and closes. And I think we're almost there. I am going to need some polluted water for this loop. The loop I have not finished yet, so let's go something like this. That works out well. Some temperature shift plates would work out very nicely in here. We're going to use igneous rock. It'll help spread these thermals around. Very nice. Couple things I need to remember on the automation front. First, the thermal aqua tuner, but also I need a thermo sensor that says, hey, if it gets too hot in here, make sure you turn the steam turbines on. Otherwise, let the batteries control them. It's going to be here and here. Battery, of course, is going to be set at 9060. All right, so far we're looking good. We've got about, I don't know, 30 duplicates working on this. And I was wondering why this unreachable food was staying. It wasn't the typical problem that we've had. For some reason, Clarky can't get out. Oh, I see your problem, Clarky. Somehow you leaped up that far, but you can't jump down. Can you build that? Great job, Clarky. Don't starve on me now. All these duplicates, and it is still a vacuum. Speaking of duplicates, it's time to add another one. Oh, hi, Slickster. I think I'd name you Sammy the Slickster, but I'm not allowed to have you. We have two possibilities, one with allergies, the other is gastrophobic. Oh, but Steve is also unconstructive. But then again, they have suit wearing and they start with exosuit training. Steve, if I print you, are you going to get yourself in trouble for being unconstructive? Say no, Steve. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 77, Synth. Timing is working pretty well. This iron volcano is rising in pressure and it looks like we're almost done. I do have it hooked up to this grid that has got way too much on it, but for now that's going to work. I'm going to have to trust the fact that no one is going to become flatulent or exhale in here because it is time. Oh no! Oh, I made a boo-boo. I put the temperature shift plate, which then removed everything. Oh, this is going to be bad. Please tell me this amount of water can absorb that iron. Oh, I might as well start getting it analyzed. Oh, that was a big mistake. Big fail. Come on, water. You can hold. You're only 17 degrees. And it's erupting. Don't mind Brian. They like hot rocks. How much iron do you really produce? Oh, are you done? Tell me you're done. Nope. There's still more coming. The water's up to 20 degrees. We should be fine. Especially thankful that we ended up putting all of the... Oh, there's a melted temperature shift plate. I might as well replace those with obsidian. Oh, and we're finally done. Oh, and of course it goes to dormancy. That was it. I suppose now I can reroute these. I realized I wanted the rails to go through the bottom part as well. That way they have an opportunity to heat all of this water. So I will grab more iron ore and we will go up around like that and get rid of these. Ain't nothing to worry about. Last on the agenda, I need to hook up the steam turbines to their exhaust vent. I'll drop it right here in between the battery and the thermal aqua tuner. And other than loading this with a coolant, I think we're done. Speaking of coolant, where are you? We will take you from right here. The iron in this tile is already down to about 300 degrees, and the water is up to about 53. So it's probably going to be a long time before we're able to capitalize on the iron coming out of here. I am going to turn the whole thing on. Why? Oh no. You don't need automation going through you. But as soon as we finish analyzing this, I am ready to seal it up. We are getting loaded with coolant, and what did I do? I think it's just because of the bridge. And that should be enough right there. And once I remove the bridge, it should go around and around the way it's supposed to, as long as I didn't butcher something. Oh, and I did. It's this bridge. Look at that. I flipped a bridge. That never happens. Actually, I didn't flip the bridge at all. It's this silliness here. There we go. Whoopsie daisies. Exit pipe wasn't coming out of the right way. It was coming out of the input of the bridge. It's what happens when you start flipping thermal aqua tuners knowing that you shouldn't. While we're finishing that up, I've been doing some exploration of our biome here, and there's some bad news. Notice the petroleum sitting here. This is not a good sign. Normally that happens because of an abyssalite break flashing the oil when the oil is just too small. I haven't been able to find it, but it's very rare that you'd see petroleum here. Oh, and there's another geyser here. We have a couple to check out. I don't know if the dupes are going to be able to get to it today, but I suppose we will at least dig up to see. They are in suits down here, so it's not a huge ordeal, but our dupes are still pretty slow, all things considered. Especially when you get somebody like Izzy. Izzy, no. You are not doing any of this. Go back home. One thing I do wish for an Oxygen Not Included is a little bit more logic. In other words, it'd be great if I could set some sort of automation here that says, hey, only allow a dupe through this door if their athletics is above 10. Maybe it could be like a hand scanner. The dupe scans their hand, gets their biometric data, and says, no, you're not allowed to go through here. That way I don't have to individually control the settings on each duplicate. Oh, we have the volcano tamed. It won't be active again for another 64 cycles. Oh, that makes me sad. But I suppose it's time to seal it up. Looking at our iron volcano, and I haven't done this math in quite some time, it looks like it has an average output of 288.2 grams per second. That's taking into account whether it's active or it's dormant. So if we want to make sure we always have some iron on the rail, in other words, the iron is staying on the rail for as long as possible so we can draw as much heat out of it as possible, we only want to open the chute every so often. And the long, complicated math comes out to be around once every 68 seconds do we want this door to open. But because the volcanoes are sort of set in the game from a minimum to a maximum output, you're safe with going everywhere from, say, 50 seconds to 75 seconds. Because that volcano looks a little weaker to me based on its output, I am going to say once every, 70 seconds. But if you wanted to do the math yourself, it's a little bit easier now that Clay gives us this average output. All you need to do is take the 20,000 grams that we know are coming out of the chute, or 20 kilos, and divide it by the average output, in this case 288.2, and you'd get 69.3. So once every 70 seconds means there will always be iron available for it to come out. I am not going to turn this on though, unfortunately, because, well, the iron's already down to 63 degrees, so I'm going to have to wait the 63 cycles before I can. In other good news, Clay has increased the amount of drops that we get per week, and while I normally print them out live on Twitch during our Twitch streams, and we have some fun predictions to go along with it, it's kind of hard to do 6 in one stream, so every once in a while we may get a blueprint here in the YouTubes. Let's see what we get this time. We even get 2 unclaimed blueprints. First one is a digital lemon wallpaper. Very nice. Second one, the Stargazer dot. It's great to get something nifty, but as you know, it's a duplicate. Which I suppose brings up the second piece of good news. They've now doubled how much you get for recycling your duplicates. So we're going to earn another 1,600 spools. The digital lemon was also a duplicate because such is life, so we'll get another 200 from it. Our cool steam vent has started to erupt, and notice there isn't a single bit of gas inside here. As soon as the steam hits these temperature shift plates, it quickly condenses and will slowly start to fill up this room. Remember, our automation says when it can and cannot pump. We're going to wait until there's about this much water in there, and that way there's plenty of thermal mass for the coolant to inject its chill into, but soon we'll be grabbing some water from it as well. And it looks like it's time for the last dupe of the episode. I fear this episode's gone entirely too long, so this is probably going to be split into part A and part B once again. In this case, we have a nice builder digger, with the only negative trait being a small bladder, which isn't bad at all. We haven't had a nice digger builder in quite some time. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 78, Bodwan. I think we got a lot accomplished today. We tamed a cool steam vent, which this is going to be great for our water. Why is everybody just standing around? Deliver more gold. We've also started the main shaft through this area. Up next, I'm going to be digging all this out so I can collect all the salt water, distribute it, and then I'll be able to cut this place down. We've improved the oxygen flow in the colony. Yeah, we're still getting a little concentration here, but now it can also flow down through here. We've explored a lot of the magma biome and have 3 vents and geysers that we're going to be able to unearth. We'll find out more about them next episode. I'm afraid this episode went entirely too long. I'll be able to find out once I start cutting it up on the editing room floor. If so, I apologize that you had to do a part A, part B. I hope you're still enjoying this series and looking forward to more chaos to come. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.